What's up? This is your host, Non-Fungible TC, Non-Fungible today and Non-Fungible tomorrow, and you subscribe to this channel for daily updates, for daily insights on the market, both in cryptocurrency and also NFT. So without further ado, let's look at this market today. And if you look at the market, the STEPN token is actually doing quite well and keep going up. But for those of you who do not know, STEPN is kind of like a move to earn app that's on the Solana. I think it's on the Solana chain. Yeah, it is on the Solana chain, and they have been doing quite well because the token price was around $3 a while back, and then now it kept going up, right? So there is a 22% increase. But anyways, usually I don't talk about trending tokens, but more about the mass market, right? So as you can see, the total market cap is 1.82 trillion with a 1.67% increase. So I wouldn't say that the market has resumed back to the very bullish momentum, because back then, like a few weeks ago, we were talking about 2 trillion market cap, right? So 0.2 trillion have actually left the market, right? But in terms of the trading volume, the last 24 hours, we have a 32% decrease. People are trading less. But then because the market itself is kind of slowly recovering back up, right? You see Bitcoin at 39,000. And you have Ethereum at 2.9 thousand, and Ethereum is still trying to break through the 3,000 price range. But I will talk about an article later and to give you some insight why the market is doing this, right? And why it is so volatile, right? But definitely, I think everyone should have a look at ApeCoin. ApeCoin with a 9.62% increase, finally breaking the $20 range. And I'm going to talk about today, one of the key things is how to use pivot table to sort the wallet holders, right? And the good thing about ApeCoin is that it does not have more than 100,000 wallet holders, so we are able to have a full picture. So I'll share with you more later. So if you look at the overall news in the world, EU, everything is kind of green. Asia, everything is kind of green. Pre-market is green. But one thing that is quite interesting is that actually, Facebook has announced their recent earnings report, right? So it is doing much better compared to what people forecasted. So that's why Nasdaq futures saw as stock looks to get back on track. So everything, the traditional market kind of dragged crypto down back then. But now, the traditional market is going back up. Everything is slightly more, positive, I guess. So that's why it is going back up, right? Even though growth decline gains were expected, right? So Facebook has announced their earnings much better. So when tech stocks do well, crypto sometimes tend to do well because, crypto has this correlation with tech stocks, right? So in terms of DeFi, right? Also has a positive correlation with the market. If the market is going up, people have faith in cryptocurrency. They're gonna spend more money to stake the tokens for more yield, right? So if you look at the different type of chains, we talked about optimism yesterday. Maybe look at a 1-day percentage change. Interestingly, there are some chains that are gaining a lot of momentum. And NIA is going back to number 5, right? So I'm gonna talk about percentage change per day for the different chains, so you kind of see where the smart money is going. But it's interesting, how Syscoin is having a lot of percentage change. If I were you, I'd definitely check out what is Syscoin and Telos, and why is there such a huge percentage change, right? But these are all very, the total value locked in these protocols are actually very small, right? $6.1 million. So, always be careful when you do your research when you look at this, right? So that is for DeFi. Let us look at the NFT market. NFT market, in general is kind of weird. But we have Meebits with a 30% increment, right? And the reason why Meebit is going up is that there are rumors saying that MoonPay is buying certain Meebits, right? And when MoonPay buys it, does it mean that a certain celebrity is trying to get into Meebits? So, because of that, there is a price increase. But I think everyone is trying to get more liquid because, Yuga Labs Bored Apes first mass drop is going to happen this Saturday, right? So and it's gonna be paid in APE, right? So I think people are trying to get liquid to get to participate in that Yuga Lab land drop, right? But of course, the people who could only participate in public for this Saturday are those that did the KYC earlier on at the end of March or early April. But I see a lot of people on Twitter trying to sell KYC wallets, so that's an interesting thing to see. But I think the reason why the market is kind of red all over is this is actually an interesting analysis by NFT statistics.eth, right? So basically, the Punk 9059 is saying is that this trend continues. Bored Ape, Yacht Club, Azuki, Clone X, Doodles, and New Moonbirds separating themselves from everyone else. I've talked about large cap performing, but it is really the top 5 projects driving all the gains, right? So basically, this is an interesting analysis because it shows that actually the top 5 blue chip project is draining the liquidity away. So the rich projects becomes richer and harder to afford, but the mediocre or normal projects are losing the liquidity because people are cashing out, trying to sell it, and then to maybe jump into these blue chip projects. So it is an interesting thing to see, but if you don't watch the show, if you don't keep in track of what is happening in the market, you would not be able to know this. And interestingly, other people share similar sentiments, saying that actually the concentration in share of NFT flip versus share of gains for NFT flips by addresses on overseas, right? So basically, 20% of user addresses on OpenSea account for 80% of secondary NFT sales, right? So it is still a very kind of centralized market, while 5% of all addresses account for 80% of profit made on secondary sales. So not a lot of people can profit. But once these people profit, what would they do, right? They would bring in the money into these blue chip projects. So you always see a blue chip project going up, right? Moonbird now is at floor 26, but you look at Mutinate, right? It's a 37.45, and maybe you look at Azuki is 24.4. But a month ago, these were sitting at like Azuki was at around 10 ETH or something, right? So it kind of did a double. So people are having more faith in blue chip projects, and seeing how these blue chip projects can provide them liquidity by doing airdrops. The money is going to blue chip projects. So that is something that you want to check out. So moving on to daily news, interesting news from Hong Kong. So basically, Hong Kong watchdog warns stablecoin to undermine HKD in CBDC paper. So basically, Hong Kong's financial watchdog it says that it is concerned about the rising popularity of stablecoins, and it invites the public to kind of give their feedback on the introduction of Hong Kong dollars and also the idea of stablecoins, right? And the reason why they're so concerned is that actually the Hong Kong dollars is patched with the US dollars, right? So if stablecoins is becoming more and more popular, and a lot of these stablecoins are valued in US dollar, like USDC, USDT, UST, and so on, it is definitely something that might affect the Hong Kong currency, right? So basically, they're exploring the idea of issuing a electronic Hong Kong dollars, which is a central bank digital currency. But this is actually in sync with what China is trying to do, where they talk about the digital yuan, right? So as we can see in the future, there might be a battle, of crypto that is more decentralized, but then maybe less regulated compared to centralized, currency issued by governments, issued by banks, right? So it is gonna be two interesting type of proposition, and it'll be interesting to see what people choose, right? Centralized has it good because maybe there's gonna be less rug pull, there's gonna be less scam, it's more regulated, it's more safer, and it provides convenience, there's more liquidity. But then cryptocurrency has its own pro as well, because the reason why you have crypto is that, hey, it's much easier to transfer the funds. There's much more DeFi applications and things like that you can use, right? But if money becomes regulated, if it's centralized, then there might be less DeFi opportunity that you can use, right? Imagine if one day Hong Kong, which they are talking about, allowing only professional investors, trading crypto, right? If their currency is centralized, they could have regulatory control. But if they are decentralized like cryptocurrency, there is much more alternatives that you could do and so on, right? So this is what Hong Kong is doing, and it's interesting to see how different governments or local jurisdictions are trying to push forward CBDC. Another next news, which is BlackRock launches its first crypto exposed ETF with sizable Coinbase allocation, right? So the world's largest asset manager is giving its clients exposure to crypto and blockchain companies. This is quite exciting because we've been seeing, Fidelity issuing the ETFs. We've been seeing, like after 401k, I forgot the company behind it. We just talked about it yesterday. But after 401k allowing you to have exposure in Bitcoin. I think that was Fidelity as well. Yes, it was Fidelity. But now you have BlackRock, right? So basically, in brief, it's just launched a blockchain and tech ETF, giving investors exposure to crypto companies. So basically, BlackRock has listed its iShare exchange traded fund to allow investors to gain exposure to the blockchain and cryptocurrency market without directly investing in crypto, right? So it is not like a sport ETF where you need to buy the actual crypto, but it is exposure. So an application for the iShares blockchain and tech ETF was filed to the SEC in January, seeks to track the investment results of an index composed of US and non-US companies that are involved in the development, innovation, and utilization of blockchain and crypto technologies, right? So the news said actually most of the new fund, 11.45, will be allocated to Coinbase, the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the US, right? So other firms the ETF will track include blockchain mining companies and wires, and as well payment gateways giant like PayPal, right? Which first launched crypto services in 2020. So it shows that actually a lot of bigger funds, hedge fund managers, creating more products to allow retail to have more exposure to cryptocurrency, which is bullish for the market in general if we're looking for mass adoption. So next interesting thing, which is similar to Hong Kong, which is the Philippines will launch pilot wholesale central bank digital currency project, which is the same thing that I was talking about CBDC in a few minutes ago, right? So basically what happened is that the Philippines will pursue a wholesale central bank digital currency pilot project to be called project CBDC PH, right? So basically the Filipino governor Benjamin announced on Wednesday that he spoke about the project at a roundtable of the 18th annual group of 24 Alliance for Financial Inclusion Policymaker held at the IMF World Bank Spring meeting in Washington, D.C., right? So basically, they're trying to say that, hey, we're going to get into CBDC, we're going to use the wholesale CBDC for cross-border payments, and also equity securities payment and intraday liquidity facility, right? So basically, the country took its first step towards the CBDC last year with the release of an exploratory study, but now they are really trying to, physically going to launch a pilot program rather than just doing a study, which is huge because, overseas Philippine domestic workers, contributes a lot to the GDP of Philippines, right? So if this is wholesale and if this is related to some kind of cross-border transfer, this could be very huge as well. So moving on next, which is about the market, and we saw that the market was kind of volatile for some time, right? And the reason why for this is according to this article, right? Bitcoin is set for volatile monthly close after the BTC price check all boxes for major move, right? So major move could be major move up or it could be major move down. So always trade carefully, right? So basically, on-chain analysis platforms material indicator, shown a light on the importance of the 38,000 for BTC action, right? So basically what happened is that, after lingering near liquidity at or about 37,000 on intraday time frame, data from Cointelegraph, Market Pro and trading shows that BTC trading pair with US dollar is yet to make a clear move up and down, right? So everyone is still guessing whether it's going to go up or is it going to go down. So according to the article, macro factors are demanding further downside, right? Because of the idea of inflation and geopolitical strife is clearly felt on equities market, which is similar to what I've been saying. Everything seems, doom and gloom. You have the war, you have inflation, you have supply chain crisis. But at the same time, on-chain signals are anything but bearish, right? It basically means that more and more miners are ever increasing their investment in the hash rate, right? So whether short or long time frame, however, 38,000 forms a critical historical price for Bitcoin, right? So kind of 38,000 is a support. And since the breakout of 20,000 in December, Bitcoin has consolidated, December 20 has consolidated in this range for more than any other, right? So it's kind of trading sideways, right? So, where Bitcoin can go from here is not obviously given, given the monthly trend. Analyzing the 3-day chart, the Twitter tweet noted that both bullish and bearish patterns repeating themselves this week alone. So, the loss moving averages, stacks up. So basically, it means that regardless of the direction, volatility is all but guaranteed thanks to the upcoming monthly close, which is similar to what I said. Every time by the end of the month, we do have futures option expiry, right? Once that happens, the different type of people are going to try to manipulate the market, causing it to be more volatile, right? So, concluding, basically, the Twitter thread brought whales into the picture in addition to now lying below all three aforementioned moving averages, right? So they're using a lot of moving averages analysis, and I'm saying that actually whales are gonna even manipulate the market further, right? So it basically means that because at the month close, Bitcoin price is gonna be more volatile, right? Which I've been covering for some time as well. So moving on, let's talk about another interesting news, which is from the Wax.io blockchain. So Wax is a carbon neutral blockchain and deals a lot of collectibles, right? What is interesting is that, what they did is that they do have a game called blockchain Brawlers, right? And what is interesting is that they have invited the creator of the trading card game to help build the game with a blockchain or play to earn mechanism, right? So I kind of forgot the creator of the name of the creator, but it was a big news. It was Magic the Gathering. Yes, once the max supply is fully mined, the game will be transitioned to the player versus player phase designed by Magic the Gathering creator Richard Garfield, right? So I think Richard Garfield is the creator of Magic the Gathering. And Magic the Gathering is indeed a very popular game in terms of the collectibles and trading card industry, right? So basically, they have hired him to work on their upcoming player versus player game, okay, which is the first Wax Studios' first NFT game, Blockchain Brawlers, right? So I think this is definitely bullish because you have someone who are very well known within the field, who has developed an IP that is very popular, Magic the Gathering, and would definitely bring in more attention to gamers to look into the blockchain space. Basically what NFTs is, and also how player versus player or play to earn really is, right? Rather than just in-game transaction, it is something that is related to digital asset. So I think this is very interesting, which is similar to the news I talked about yesterday about how chess.com is trying to bring NFTs to more masses, right? To traditional chess players as well. So to our core of today's video, I'm gonna do like a tutorial on pivot tables, okay? For those of you who do not know, pivot table is a way to analyze data on Excel, right? So I want to do a pivot table to analyze the holders of ApeCoin, right? So right now everyone is speculating that there's gonna be a supply of 55,000 or 70,000 land sale, right? With a Dutch auction of around 308 to 108, right? For the upcoming Saturday land sale. But everything is still to be confirmed, right? But I want to teach you a tool so you can know how to, strategize your money, how to participate in the upcoming land sale, and how many competition you have. So the first thing is, if you do not know, basically on Etherscan, if you go to a token page, right, you can actually see how many holders of that token is on the Ethereum blockchain, okay? And then you can see the total supply, the trading price, and the total fully diluted market cap. So the fully diluted market cap is basically means it's actually calculated by multiplying the token's total supply on Ethereum with the current market price per token, right? So basically, the max total supply is not fully allocated. There is a vesting schedule, but then this is actually the market cap of the trading price times the tokens available in the market, right? So this is basically the Etherscan of the token page, right? And you can actually see on the blockchain, the contract of this token, how many transactions happen, and you can see what people are doing, right? And then you can actually see holders, which is what we're going to talk about today. And you can actually see there's a chart which shows total token holders, right? But the biggest problem, and then it shows you the total holders, the address, Binance has the most token right now, how many tokens they own, the percentage, right? But this chart does not show us, a very helpful information because it only shows you the top 500 at the maximum, right? But if we go back and look at the ApeCoin token, there is more than 500 holders. There is 57,000 holders, right? So what should we do, right? But before I proceed, I want to talk about, the info is basically a part about the token or the contract that is on the Etherscan. DEX trade is decentralized exchange trade. So if people are buying Ape token, you can see how much amount they're buying, how much they are paying for ETH, which decentralized exchange. So this is done on Uniswap, right? The contract is basically, the smart contract of the token. And analytics basically kind of talks about the money or how many transfer has been done, so you can kind of see on the chain basically what is happening. So how do you get into this page, right? Well, you could go to Etherscan, paste the contract address here, press search, and then go here. Or another way you can do is actually go to CoinMarketCap, go to ApeCoin, and then you could actually see there's a place that says contract, right? And then you want to see the Ethereum contract because the ApeCoin is only available as a ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain. Click on this. Once you click on this, it'll bring you onto this Etherscan page for that contract of the Ape token, right? So how do we use pivot table to sort the token by the number of holders? Go to holders, and you could it will show you the top 1,000 holders, right? So you want to see the whole picture and not only limited to 1,000 people. What you can do is you can scroll down in the bottom, and then it says download CSV export, right? CSV is kind of like an Excel file, but it is only limited to the first 100,000 token holders. But a good thing is, the Ape token has only 57,000 total holders, right? So you can see the whole picture by downloading the CSV. So I'm not a robot, and then let me complete this test. Next, complete the test. And verify, download the file, right? So what happened is that it'll download as an Excel file, and within that Excel file, it'll show you which address holds how many token, right? So I'm opening my Excel right now. So this is the Excel file that you get, right? So what you do first is that pending balance update is not really helpful, so you can delete this. So what the data you have is basically right now I have all 57,000 addresses that actually hold ApeCoin, and how many ApeCoin that they hold, right? So what you can do right now is that I'm not sure if you heard of this, but it's called a pivot table. You can press you can highlight these two rows, okay? Make sure you highlight these two rows, these two columns, okay? And then press insert pivot table, and then press new worksheet, okay, right? So what happened is that now you have a way to do the analysis, right? So you could take the two holder address balance, and when you do holder address, you can actually decide where to put the holder address, right? So I want to do the calculation of the sum of balance and the holder address in the values, right? So basically what this does is that it shows you how many token and how many current holders are for that specific token, right? So this row is actually showing the number of tokens, and then this row would be showing the breakdown of the number of wallets holding that specific amount of token. But right now everything is in very weird numbers, right? So what you can do is that you could click on this, right click, press group, okay, and then it will let you filter the data, right? So you can start at 0 and then at ending at this number, right? So ending at this basically means that the number one holder actually own around this much 27 million Ape token, and that is actually Binance, okay? So and then you can sort it by intervals, right? So assuming that the Ape token, assuming that the Dutch auction starts at 300 Ape token, which everyone is speculating, what you can do is you can type 299, right? So it basically will sort 299 for you, right? So for here, what you can see is that after sorting this by 299, it shows that the people who hold 0 to 299 tokens is actually 39,457, right? Okay, 39,457, and the people who hold more than that is basically the people below here, right? So a lot of people actually hold a lot of tokens. So this is actually quite crazy, right? 48 people actually hold this range of tokens, right? So this is the total number of token holders, right? So let's do some calculations, right? Imagine if Yuga Labs really starts selling the land at 300 ApeCoin, and that everyone is gonna FOMO into this. And basically what we could do is we can deduce how many people have 300 Ape token to bid for that NFT, right? So what you can do is you can press equal, and then you can select the total number of the token holders, okay, total number. And then what you can do is you can go back up, and then you can remove the people who are not eligible to buy the land sale if it's above 300 Ape token, right? Then you will find out that actually the only people who could buy the upcoming drop it's actually 17,758 people, right? So imagine if if this number is going to compete for 70,000 NFTs, right? So everyone can have a chance of minting around 6 point something NFTs, right? So basically it's this one divided by this one, right? So so basically each person has a chance of minting around 4 or 3.9 NFTs, assuming that these land or these NFTs are going to be sold at 300 APE coin, right? So this is kind of a way for you to see how you can actually strategize when Yuga Labs announce the allocation, the price of the beginning of the Dutch auction, right? Because you can assume that it's gonna sell out in the first few minutes maybe, or maybe the first minute or first 10 seconds, because it's just so highly sought after, right? And maybe a lot of people did not do KYC, might want to buy secondary, so there is definitely a demand for this project, right? So this is how you can sort it, and maybe if they tell you that, hey, the maximum is around 3 NFTs, right? Then you can do your calculation and see whether there's gonna be a gas war or not, right? But all of this are speculation, and none of this is financial advice, but I just want to teach you how to set up a pivot table. And another really fun way you could do is you can highlight this, and then you can insert a pie chart. So this is basically a pie chart of the wallets holding the tokens and the amount that they hold, right? So if I were to, add data label and then wait for my Excel to kind of show the data label, you can actually see 4,237 wallet holds more than 299 to 598 APE token, right? So it shows that some people, 4,000 people, are kind of speculating that there's a chance that you need more than 3,000 token, and that's the minimum. But then they might want to buy 2 land at the same time because they are trading at this range, right? Or they are speculating that this is how the Dutch auction, the price range would be, right? So this pie would actually gives you information that, hey, actually around 6,000 people are speculating that you need more than 3,000 APE token, and then you need around at a maximum of 897 APE token, right, to be safe to participate in the upcoming land drop, right? So that's it. That's how you can create a pivot table, how you could actually do a pie chart. And if you want, you can basically add the sums yourself, below 2,000, how many people, the range of, 300 to 1,000, how many people, and you could do that, your calculation yourself by clearing the data. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. This is your host, Non-Fungible TC. I hope you enjoyed this Excel tutorial. And feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Send me a DM, comment on my Twitter, or whatever. I would love to share more ideas with you. And that's it. Yeah, bye-bye.